because we have an agreement with the National Resistance Movement. You know, if I have your check, that means you made a promise to me. A check is called a promissory note. And it has nothing to do with me because I don't sign your check for you. You are the one who signs it. So I've written with some reminders. It is not yet time to disclose the detailed contents of that letter, but I just wish to let you know that I've notified him. Number two, this week I'll also send a letter to each and every member of the 12th Parliament. So that there's no confusion about what this is about. So those are two things that I have done. Now, for purposes of refreshing our memories about our agreement with the National Resistance Movement, because I had some former members of FDC who are now in NRM now saying it would be suicidal for Norbert Mao to be Speaker of Parliament. I sit in the cabinet where every document is a secret. I head the Ministry of Justice where there's zero leakage. Have you ever had any document leaking from Ministry of Justice? Even State House leaks, as you know. But Ministry of Justice, leakage, zero. So if it is about trust, I was chairman of Gulu district, the frontline district. The purpose of building the nation is to bring people who have been disagreeing to agree. And when I joined the NRM government, I left the door open behind me. And that's the door that the Nsibambis have used. I didn't lock that door because it is not about me again, and it is not even about DP. It is about Uganda. Imagine if I stood at the door and said, no, it would be suicide to allow you in. If that was the attitude, would they have been allowed in? And how long have they been there now to start lecturing their hosts? You know, one day I gave a lift to a man in my car, and there was music on the radio, and the man was telling me, I don't like that station. First, it is my car, and I'm enjoying the music. You are just a passenger who I was kind enough to give a lift. Now you are lecturing me about what songs should play in my car. Unfortunately, that is how some people behave. Maybe some of you have experienced that. Somebody comes to your house and starts telling you, shouldn't this chair be that way? Why don't you do it in your house? So now, former members of an opposition party, for us, we haven't joined the NRM, but we have a record of serving Uganda together with the NRM more seriously than any other political party. Not only that, the majority of those who died in the war that brought the NRM to power were DP members because they had a cause. Their election had been stolen. So we will not accept that conversation to be derailed. But we respect the National Resistance Movement and its processes. But we don't accept that we should be fenced out because we have this agreement. Now, this agreement under Article 1 states principles. Unfortunately, all Ugandans, including you people in the media, even when you write about the cooperation agreement, you say the agreement whose contents remain undisclosed. What has not been disclosed? The agreement is there in the public. If you have failed to interpret it, that's not our problem.
You're suggesting you should put a copy on the DP notes board.
There is no DP WhatsApp group that does not have that agreement. So, under principles, the agreement says the parties confirm their commitment to a strong, cohesive, united, and inclusive Uganda. Then it has 6 principles, which I don't want to go into, but let me summarize. The first one, that these values are a prerequisite for social, political, and economic success and stability of Uganda. We seek to work for a nation that provides freedom and security for all. That we recommit ourselves to the promotion of democratic principles, respect for all human rights, which are in the Constitution of Uganda and all international documents and instruments. One of the principles is our commitment to seeking a national consensus through an inclusive national dialogue process. So when you hear people are now talking about national dialogue, they are simply copying and pasting, redressing accountability gaps and national priorities. One of the principles is that we are committed to working in the best interest of Uganda and Ugandans, and to maintain public confidence in the integrity of governance processes. The agreement has 4 objectives. The first is to consolidate working relationship between the parties in the areas of political dialogue, justice, rule of law, constitutionalism, based on mutual respect, reciprocity, common interest, and respect for the sovereignty and independence of the parties. The other objective is that this is a comprehensive framework for promoting understanding, dialogue, and cooperation. And we are supposed to strengthen our political relations on issues of common and national interest. But for purposes of what we are talking about today, the most important provision is in Article 7E, and that is the content of the letter I wrote to the President, who is the national chairman of NRM. Article 7E of the agreement says, this agreement will evolve as the term of government progresses, including through opening up potential additional areas of cooperation. So, we now want to cooperate to get Uganda the best possible Speaker of Parliament. The cooperation agreement is a living document. It's not a dead document. And the same article says, any additional areas of cooperation will be agreed to between the party leaders. So the leader of DP and the leader of NRM will agree on whether this is another area of cooperation. So I do not know why those who are not concerned are talking a lot about this matter. For us, we are a serious political party And we assume that those we deal with are serious. So my letter is proposing that this becomes an area of cooperation. Remember, we cooperated in areas in cabinet. That's why I sit in cabinet. There was supposed to be another position. They never kept their promise. But because we don't like majoring in minors, we kept quiet. Another area of cooperation was IALA. You remember? So why can't the position of Speaker of Parliament be an area of cooperation, according to Article 7E? So you, the great analysts on social media, TikTok, and veranda politicians, let us remember that the objective is to unchain Parliament. The objective is to serve Uganda. But more importantly, for those who have been used to Mao bashing, I've already told you it is not about me. It is about balancing the boat. As I said, later I will be sharing with you my letter, which is basically the contents of my farewell speech to Parliament, which I delivered on the 11th of May, 2006. That was my last day in Parliament when I was in the 7th Parliament. It's a very interesting letter. You will see that many of us were seeing very far, even at that time. Let me conclude as follows. The rules of procedure of Parliament has a code of conduct. And we are not supposed, for instance, to call rallies. We are not supposed to embarrass ourselves by recording people to endorse us. That is really demeaning the office of Speaker. Then those who say that somebody who is not NRM cannot be Speaker, they are mistaken, because they do not know that we have a cooperation agreement. In Kenya, the Speaker of Parliament doesn't belong to the same party as the President. And those who are saying it are always meeting that Speaker of Kenya. In fact, I'm so ashamed to have to say this, because now it makes it appear as if I'm also campaigning. Yet I'm the one who knows the rules, because I'm a lawyer, not only a lawyer, but a senior advocate. Because we have lawyers who are not advocates. They have no audience in court. Because a lawyer simply means you studied law. But it is like, you can be a seminarian who is not ordained. There's a difference. It means you can't give Holy Communion, you cannot baptize people, you cannot bury the dead. So, it cannot be me, who is a senior advocate of 32 years standing, because I was enrolled in 1994 as an advocate of the courts of judicature. So I understand that we must abide by rules, and the rules say ourselves or our agents should not be campaigning. Now these rules are colliding with this social media driven society of ours. A hand that can be trusted with a record of working with all sorts of people. So I am responding to that outpouring of goodwill. But at the very, very personal level, I wonder what my friend Jacob Olanya would tell me if I met him on the other side of life. And he says, Mao, I left you behind. You have seen what is happening, and you did nothing? Then you should have been the one to have died. Even God would ask me that, what did you do? So at a personal level, I'm in this because I don't want to be a spectator. I've jumped into the arena. I don't know what is going to happen. It is a battle. We are facing very strong forces. But I'm doing this for God and my country. Let me answer some questions in English, and then I'll summarize in Luganda. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. David Idro is my name. I work in one of your proposals, you proposed the establishment by Cameroon Parliament